Lawmakers and former lawmakers continue to weigh in on the issue of Confederate statues and whether or not they should be removed from public lands and replaced in memorials where they have the proper context. Well, one of those former lawmakers weighing in on this debate is Georgia State Representative LaDawn Jones. She's no longer a state representative. However, she recently commented on a Facebook post that was written by Georgia State Representative Jason Spencer. Now, Jason Spencer seems to be very much in favor of the Confederate statues, and LaDawn Jones kind of called him out and criticized him for it. And his response was, it appears violent, and I wanted to share it with you. He essentially said that she won't be met with torches, but something a lot more definitive if she continues to call for the removal of statues in South Georgia. He continues to write, people in South Georgia are people of action, not drama, and suggested some who don't understand that will, quote, go missing in the Okefenokee.
So I think there's a case to be made that Jason Spencer should be arrested. So, right-wingers think that freedom of speech means I get to say whatever I want. That's not what it means. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are some limitations. And one thing you cannot do is incite violence. So you're allowed any political speech you want. And I love that about this country. And that's kind of what we do here. That's the heart and soul of our job. So I love the First Amendment, I defend it. But you can't say to people, I will murder you. That is a crime. That is not speech, or that is not permitted speech. So now in this case, I grant you that it's tougher because the state rep here did not say, I am going to kill you. He said, other people will kill you.
Right.
But it seems like he's encouraging people to take that action.
Right, which could be perceived as inciting violence, which is not protected by the First Amendment. It's an interesting take that you have regarding prosecuting him. That's not going to happen, and it seems as though they had an interesting relationship back when State Representative Jones was a representative. She's no longer one. She says, yeah, we had a friendship, and it was heated at times because we disagree on things, but we just have that kind of relationship. But I do want to give you some more details into what he said. First of all, the part about they're not about drama, they take action, right? That seems like you are encouraging them, like you're celebrating the idea of people going after a former lawmaker in a violent way and in a definitive way. Anyway, so Jones responded back with, enjoy, but no, winter is coming, which is a Game of Thrones reference for those of you who don't watch. You know it too, otherwise you wouldn't have found a need to even make this post or those hollow threats of not coming to South Georgia. So I think she makes a lot of sense there because I think a lot of people, who identify with some of the neo-Nazis in the country are afraid that they're gonna be the minority. You hear it over and over again, we're gonna be the minority, we're gonna be the minority, as if that's like the worst thing that could possibly happen to them. And there's
that's because they know how they treated minorities when they were in charge. And they think probably minorities will be as vicious as we were to them, so it's an act of projection.
Yeah.
Now, I love LaDawn Jones. She's one of my new heroes. I want to because of some of the quotes that she shot back with that I'll tell you in a second. But in terms of Jason Spencer, look, are we gonna let this keep going where you say, now, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm not gonna make you disappear, but maybe my fans will, maybe people who support me will. Now, if you flip it, my guess is the right wing would not be as happy. If, for example, the Black Panther Party or whatever boogeyman that the right wing has in their head said, oh, Bill O'Reilly better not come to Manhattan, otherwise he'll go missing. Or just take all of his quotes.
Are you kidding me? We saw what happened with Kathy Griffin, which, by the way, we also criticized here on the show. She took a photo with what appeared to be a decapitated head that looked like Donald Trump, and their heads exploded, right?
And everybody knew it was a mannequin. It's not like anybody thought, oh, Kathy Griffin beheaded Donald Trump.
Right.
Right? And they lost it, and I think rightfully so. But when you have an actual threat of violence, of murdering someone, they're like, oh, no big deal, no big deal. Right. Mannequins, super dangerous and scary. Real human beings and threats to them, no big deal. So if some Muslim American group said, Sean Hannity, you better not come to this part of America, otherwise we won't do drama, we'll take real action and make you disappear. There is no way the FBI doesn't investigate that. no way, and you know it. But when right-wingers do it, they have special privileges. And then when you point out white privilege, they go, oh, I am so hurt. Well, this is what we're talking about. It doesn't mean that you're rich. It doesn't mean that you live in a mansion. It means that you can threaten to kill people and get away with it.
You know what?
That minorities wouldn't be able to do, which neither side should be able to do.
It also means that you can literally fire a gun at a crowd of individuals and not get charged with attempted murder. Instead, you get charged with firing a gun within 1,000 feet of a school, right? Which is what happened during that hate rally in Charlottesville. The ACLU released a video of a guy who literally just opened fire at a crowd. Luckily, no one was struck, he missed. But that's what we talk about when we discuss white privilege.
Okay, now let's go to LaDawn Jones, because Anna read you the part where she says you don't need to even make this post or those hollow threats of not coming to South Georgia. The last line of that post was, by the way, I'm in South Georgia right now. Okay, I love her attitude. She said, we will not let you hide hate behind heritage, which is a great way of putting it. She said, move your idols to private property because we're going to take them off of public property, which is a great point. She's not saying that we're erasing history or that you don't get to celebrate racist traitors to America. You do get to celebrate them, but on private property because this is America.
And also in their proper context, right? I mean, think about the fact that some of these statues are placed in front of courthouses, where we deal with a two-tier justice system that's not just based on racial bias, but also socioeconomic bias. I mean, think about how incredibly insulting that is and how much that adds insult to injury. I get it, you guys love your little statues. Put your statues in their proper context. They don't need to be in front of a state house.
Yeah, on the General Lee statues, I prefer generals who didn't lose wars. But she wrote in another post, hashtag flag gone, hashtag Confederate statues leaving, hashtag hate done, hashtag sorry, not sorry. All right, how much do I love her? Let's keep going. She says, so grab your guns and your pickup trucks and drive in circles with your Confederate flags while we buy up your land and make America great for once. Lock those photos in your memory because we're about to tear that shit down. Hashtag bye Felicia, hashtag bye Stonewall, hashtag bye Lee. Okay, this woman is awesome. She's not done yet. She says, and oh, you sound like such a tough guy, but I saw those white supremacists crying when the shit really hit the fan. And she said, because due to the internet and common sense, the lies you feed about superiority will die. They will grow to resent you, referring to their kids. They will grow to resent you, and then they will come work for me and my children who were taught no one is better than anyone else.
Oh my God,
boom.
Heads exploding.
That's right.
Heads exploding.
See, now that is freedom of speech. She's not threatening anyone. She's just saying, hey, since you're ignorant, your kids probably won't do very well and they'll work for my kids. Hey, get an education, otherwise this is your fate. The other side goes, me no like education. Me like old racist generals. Me threatened to kill you. Gee, I wonder who won that debate. I can't quite tell. Support independent media. Come join us at the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.